My name is Ellie, and I've been a nanny for over 10 years. I've worked with all kinds of families, all kinds of children, sweet, loud, messy, brilliant, but never like this. The job seemed normal at first. A single mother, Ms. Graves, needed help watching her 6-year-old daughter, Lily, in their old countryside house. She said Lily was going through a phase, drawing strange pictures, talking to herself, sleepwalking. Nothing I hadn't dealt with before. The house was quiet, too quiet. But the pay was good, and Lily, well, Lily was quiet too, always sitting in her room, cross legged on the floor, surrounded by broken dolls. She barely spoke to me, just stared, smiling. I started hearing noises at night, scratching behind the walls, whispering, the sound of toys moving. But when I checked, Lily was asleep, always with that damn smile on her face, candle flickering beside her bed, casting shadows that danced across the cracked walls. One morning, I found a drawing on the floor. It wasn't like the others. It showed a tall black figure with horns, glowing red eyes, and Lily, holding its hand. On the back, written in a child's handwriting, "He plays with me when you're asleep." I confronted Mrs. Graves. She looked exhausted, but not surprised. "I told you, it's a phase, Countess," she whispered. "Don't go in her room after midnight, no matter what you hear." That night, I stayed up. At exactly 3:03 a.m., I heard a low growl from Lily's room. Then laughter, but not hers, something else. I crept to her door. The candle was lit again, though I had blown it out hours ago. And there, sitting on the floor, Lily, grinning, head tilted, her eyes no longer brown, jet black, reflecting the flame. Behind her, the wall pulsed, cracked, like something alive was pushing from the other side. And then I saw him. The demon stepped out from the wall, slowly, as if peeling through the wallpaper of reality. 8 feet tall, horns scraping the ceiling, its eyes were pits of fire, and yet cold, dead. Lily didn't even flinch. She reached up without turning and took its hand. Then she looked at me, smiling wider than humanly possible. "Now we play with you," she said. The candle blew out. The room went black. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. My throat was tight, my chest frozen. The darkness in the room wasn't just absence of light, it was alive, heavy, pressing in on me. Then a voice, not Lily's, not the demon's, another one, right behind me. "Why did you come in?" it whispered. I turned. There was no one. I reached for the door, but the door was gone. The wall was smooth, seamless, just peeling wallpaper, damp and cracked, bleeding dark red lines that hadn't been there before. I turned back toward Lily. She was still sitting there, but different. Her hair longer, skin grayer, eyes glowing deeper, like something inside her had aged 100 years in a second. She never blinked, never moved, just smiled. That same impossible smile stretching too wide. Then, silently, she raised one finger to her lips. Shh. Something cold brushed my ankle. Fingers, crawling fingers, from beneath the bed. That's when I knew. She was never alone. She had never been Lily. Not really. I couldn't move. The cold fingers tightened around my ankle, dragging me slowly backward across the wooden floor. My nails scraped uselessly against the boards, trying to hold on. I didn't dare look under the bed. Lily, or whatever wore her face, just watched. Head tilted, grin widening, eyes glowing like dying stars. The demon behind her stepped closer, but he didn't walk. He slid through the air like smoke wearing a body, horns scraping the ceiling. His eyes never blinked. They just burned. All around the room, the broken toys began twitching. One doll's mouth opened on its own. A low whisper escaped from it. "Stay, stay, stay." The wallpaper behind me started peeling away in long, wet strips. Beneath it, dozens of drawings. All the same. A woman with wide eyes, being pulled through a wall, screaming, and on every one of them, in a child's handwriting, "You're next." I backed away, chest heaving, heart smashing against my ribs. The drawings on the wall were pulsing now, moving, like they were breathing. Every pair of drawn eyes followed me. From the bed, the doll's head turned slowly, its glassy eyes locked with mine. It opened its cracked mouth again and whispered, louder this time, "You're already here." Lily rose to her feet, but it wasn't Lily anymore. Her limbs moved like they were controlled by invisible strings. Her smile cracked slightly, revealing far too many teeth. Blood seeped from the corners of her mouth as she whispered, "He lives in me now." The demon reached her, but instead of standing behind her, he stepped inside her. Not metaphorically, his smoky body melted into hers like ink in water. Her shadow stretched across the room, but it wasn't her shape anymore. It had claws. Lily, or the thing wearing Lily, tilted her head back and let out a sound I'll never forget. Not a scream, not a growl, a laugh, low, echoing, too deep to come from a child's throat. The ceiling above her cracked. Dust fell. A black, tar-like substance oozed down the walls in thick, bubbling streaks. The room stank of rot. But not just death. Burned dreams, old memories, something ancient. I ran to the corner and grabbed a candle. The one that was always burning. I thought maybe if I snuffed it out, this nightmare would end. But when I blew on it, the flame turned black and grew taller. It stretched like a tendril toward the ceiling and whispered in my ear, "Now you're one of us." The door suddenly reappeared behind me, wide open. But outside, it wasn't the hallway anymore, just blackness. Not night, something worse. A space with no stars, no ground, no end. And from that void, hands began reaching in. Dozens. Pale, small, childlike, all of them grabbing, reaching. Behind me, Lily was humming. The hands from the void began clawing into the doorway, pulling at the edges like they were trying to peel the world open. Each one had tiny fingernails, some broken, others bleeding. They weren't grabbing for me. They were reaching for Lily, but she didn't flinch. She raised her hand, and they froze. Every single hand stopped moving, suspended in the air like puppets with cut strings. Then, slowly, she turned to me. Her face had changed again, now sunken, old, hollowed out like a corpse left in the attic for years. And her voice wasn't a whisper anymore. "You're not supposed to be here yet." Suddenly, every window in the house shattered inward, the wind screaming like 1,000 voices layered over each other. From the floor beneath me, something began pounding. Boom, boom, boom. The boards bulged. The entire room shook. I looked down and saw a second eye staring up through the crack in the floor. Not human. Huge, black, and blinking. The house was breathing, watching. No, the house was alive. The floor split open beneath me, not like wood breaking, more like skin tearing. Veins ran through the cracks, and something beneath was moving. I fell to my knees as the walls began to close in, not physically, but somehow the room was shrinking inside my head. My memories flashed in reverse. My childhood, my first day as a nanny, my mother's voice, all rewinding like old tape until everything stopped. Silence. Lily stood inches away now. Her mouth opened, but her lips didn't move. A voice spoke from her throat. Not hers. Not his. Mine. It repeated something I hadn't said in years. "Please don't leave me." And I realized the house wasn't showing me death. It was showing me myself, my guilt, my regrets, my broken past, feeding on them, shaping them. The demon was no longer visible, because it was inside me now. I stumbled backward into the void behind the door, and instead of falling, I kept standing, on nothing, surrounded by black sky, with eyes blinking open all around me, like stars, each one watching, each one waiting. The void didn't let me fall. It held me. Invisible hands wrapped around my chest, my arms, my legs, like vines of cold thought. I couldn't breathe, but I wasn't dying. I was becoming. Beneath me, the blackness split open like a second mouth, revealing an upside-down version of the bedroom. But this one was rotting. Melted dolls on the ceiling, walls bleeding upward, and in the center, Lily. But now she wore my face. She looked up at me, smiled, and whispered, "We just needed you to look." Then, without warning, the void snapped shut. I woke up in the bedroom, on the floor. Morning light poured through the window. The candle was gone. The drawings were gone. So was Lily. Ms. Graves rushed in, gasping. "Oh my God, you're awake. You fainted last night. Do you remember anything?" I tried to speak. My voice was gone. All I could do was nod slowly. She hugged me, and as she did, over her shoulder, I saw the mirror in the hallway. My reflection didn't smile. It stared back at me, blinking slowly, out of sync. And in the dark corner of the reflection, just for a second, I saw her, the little girl, grinning.